Hey everyone, how's it going? I am just getting warmed up for the day and getting ready for my students. My first student's gonna be here in about 15-20 minutes. But I wanted to create a video, just a little update on this used Tama I got, and it's looking pretty fresh and clean. It's got that nice shine to it, even though it's an old drum, and cleaned up the hoops. You can see where, they're shiny, clean, and I threw a new Evans clear 300 mil on the bottom. Kept the pure tones. I like pure tone snares, and for this snare, I'm just, like I was saying in the other video, it's just kind of a secondary or tertiary snare, but it was such a great deal that I needed to I needed to pick it up. No, I wanted to pick it up. But I'll give you some samples here. Sorry, I gotta get my throat cleared out a little bit and my caffeine level up before I have to launch into these 6 hours of high energy lessons here. But here are, I'll play the snare for you. Oh, and then I just have an ambassador on top. So it's what I had laying around. I had a coated ambassador. It had a coated ambassador Weather King on it, but the head was quite old and had quite a bit of pitting in it. I've already put a good amount of marks in this. Not sure if you can really see it, but yeah, you can kind of see the marks I've already put into it. And that's the thing with ambassadors, is that the coating chips off quite quickly. And this was actually one of the first Remo heads I've ever had that didn't have a huge amount of wrinkles seating it and tuning it. Usually with Remos, I'll have to really work on, there will be one side or, opposite sides that have really horrendous wrinkles that you gotta get to even tension before you can even start to getting to tuning the drum. And I don't experience that with Evans heads ever. Evans heads, you might have one lug that has a little bit of wrinkles, and you just kind of tighten that out, and then it's ready for, flat and even tuning. But with Remo heads, I find that I've got to work with them quite a bit more than I do with Evans to get them to the right level that I like, and just a good starting point to get the tuning ranges that I need. But my point being, this head, I didn't have that problem with this head. So out of maybe, I don't know, 5 to 6 dozen ambassador heads that I've seated on different drums, this was like the first one I've had where there wasn't wrinkles all over the place at finger tight. So at finger tight, I only had one little spot like a Evans head that I had to figure out, and then I just did a half turn, and it ended up being half turn ended up being quite high too. It's like 80 psi. Well, a little lower, more like 75, 78, something like that. But I'll give you the sound. I'll be quiet now, and I'll start playing the drum. So here's where the snare's off. And I got to turn the other snares off of the other drums because it has so much resonance to it. That's the thing, is that when I'm recording, but anytime I'm doing any recording, I really have to kind of think of the room and think of everything in the room so that way I'm not getting sympathetic resonance from across the room from the drums that I'm hitting over here. Because these drums are very resonant. And I need to tune this 10 up a little bit, but see how that sustain, the resonance goes on for along. I know sustain is a proper term for when playing drums. It's not sustain, it's resonance. Okay, yeah, I get that. But my point being that I love having that ability, and that's with some gel on the drum too. So. Pretty close. Okay, and on to the snare. Man, it cracks. And yeah, I do have it tuned up a little bit higher than, you know, what just for a low, detuned, fat rock sound. But I wanted to experiment with some of the sounds, and, you know, I wanted to at least get it to more of a middle range to get the more of the overtones, and so I can get a sample of what the overtones will sound like with this drum. And rim shots on this thing are ear splitting. Okay, snare's on. Well, I'll just do some 1/4, 8ths, and 16ths so you can just hear the drums. I'm not playing a bunch of busy, cluttered up stuff. So. And I still got to work with the tuning a little bit, but this is just, you know, like I said, I just half turned it and just got it to where, you know, a general range where it was singing and had a, you know, just a whole note rather than any type of wonky sound to it. So that's with the snare, so. I mean, this snare will be loud. Now let's put a piece of gel on it, because yeah, it does have some quite serious overtones to it, but a piece of gel takes that out right away. So I think it'll be a really cool snare. It looks cool with the Mapex. Just kind of fits in with the black and the black chrome and all that stuff. But I'm also wanting this drum for parts too, so that way I have a 13-inch die cast 8-lug. And I look, and the spacing is identical to this 8-lug brass, this pork pie. So then I can play around with having, and see, you hear that nice brass ring? I love the brass ring. You know, some people aren't a big fan of it, but honestly, that's the magic of the drums. That really is the magic of the drums, and I think as you evolve as a player, you kind of appreciate that more, instead of just having a flat, you know, sound for everything that you're playing. Being able to adapt to the context. But brass snares, man, I love the way that they sing and they sit in the mix. And if you tune them right and you get them you get the ring to be a musical ring and not like a really horrendous overtone ring, then it fits really well. It really does fit well. Loud rim shots. That's with a piece of gel on, and then we'll go back so you can hear the ring again. So I personally like the ring. You know, I like the ring. But when you're going for a fat, low rock sound, you know, then obviously you want to kind of have just a dead, you know, flat sound without any of those overtones to it. But it's all personal preference too, you know. But here, I'll just detune it basically, like just for experimenting purposes. But I'll show you, because I only did, like I said, half turn from finger tight with each of these, and that's how high the drum sounds just at a half turn. So let's see now. So you hear, yeah, it's still, and it's gonna have even more of a ring to it. Yeah, so I mean, even just a quick detune to where you're like, I mean, that's only probably a quarter turn past finger tight. Now, granted, I do have the reso cranked up pretty high, right about 80 psi on the drum dial. If people are used to drum dials, I think those are great tools because you can check. For me, it's not so much of I use it to tune the drum. It's more of a secondary check of where I'm checking. I always do tap tuning and use my ear to tune, because that's part of what gives you your sound, right? Is like the way that you tune and the way that you've kind of gone through the evolution of learning how to tune, which I'm still learning myself. I mean, that's an art within itself, right? So, but my point being that these are a great tool to be able to second check your work. And what I've found is that if I do it without the drum dial at all, I just do it the standard way I usually do it. You know, I'm pushing down, I'm finger tight, I'm getting rid of the wrinkles, I'm doing equal turns around, I'm tap tuning, blah, blah, blah. Then when I go and I check just at the end with the drum dial, I end up getting the same readings as if I had used the drum dial in the beginning. No joke. So these things are very useful, and what they can do is they can show you where your wrinkles are without you having to even push down on the wrinkles. So if you can just leave this here, right? You don't have to push down and search around and pray and turn and, okay, is this one good enough yet? Oh, here's another little one. Let me turn a little more. This will instantly tell you which lugs are at the same amount of even tension and which lugs are sitting way lower than the others at a starting point, at finger tight. So you don't even have to push down and get rid of the wrinkles using these, because these will tell you where the wrinkles are, is basically my point. Because it will show you, oh, this lug is 10 psi lower than all the rest at finger tight. Therefore, this is my lug that has the wrinkles. So if you were to push down, right, that's where you would see the wrinkles appear, yet you don't have to do that with these dials. So, I don't know, they're helpful, and for me, I like to use them to second check and just make sure that my tension is a good starting equal point, and then I use my ear for the fine tuning point and just tap tuning around the drum. But I guarantee right now we're going to have some lugs off, just because I just went around and just randomly, you know, went down by another like quarter turn on each lug without, you know, being precise about it and exact amount. But they're actually not too far. There's only a couple that are low. So usually what I do is I'll just kind of turn those low ones. Turn the low ones up just a little bit while leaving the others low. cool. That's close. It's a cracking snare though, man. My goodness. It's loud. It's very loud. Okay, so then we'll just put the piece of moon gel back on there. See, and for me, that kind of, it makes the drum a little dead. You know, it's good for some things, but it kind of makes the drum lose its character, you know? So, and obviously, like I said, we're just doing experiments and tuning like live in the video here, so forgive me that it's not perfectly tuned, but like I said, I literally just went around and did a quick detuning of it just so you guys could hear the lower. I should have just left it where it was because I liked where it sounded, and I'll put it right back to that position. But and that sounds cool with the moon gel, you know, just for a standard kind of. It's a cool snare. It's a cool snare. So let's do okay. Snare is pretty loose. So okay, there it is. I don't know. I guess this video didn't turn out as cool as I had in my mind that it might be, but just wanted to give the samples of what the drum looks like after a thorough cleaning and quick head swap out. And yeah, obviously I'm, just still working on the tuning of it, but I got it in range and it works well with the other drums. And here, let me hit pause really quick. I'm going to tune the drum back up just a little bit to where it was, and then I'm going to play a little bit more. Okay, we're tuned up a little bit higher now. I like my snares cranked higher. I'm just a fan of higher crank snares. I played with my snares really low and detuned, like when, I didn't really know, was still trying to find my sound and was just trying to copy like flat, dead snare rock sound kind of thing. But once I got into different woods and brass and all that, I started to really appreciate that musical ring. The overtones are what creates the cool, unique aspect of each individual drum. If every drum just sounded like a dead, fast decay drum, there wouldn't be so much magic, especially in the snare sense. And as well, most of all of us know, the snare is the most unique drum on the whole kit because of the way it's designed and the snares. So having the snares on it, in addition to the higher tension you put on it, the way that the drum interacts with itself, the fact that you're not really using the reso so much to get a longer, resonance and tone out of it, that you're using it more to transfer everything you're hitting on the batter into the snares, into the snap of the snares. Now, I know there's different schools of thought on that, and so a lot of times I will detune my resos as well to get that lower, fatter rock sound, but, usually you want to be able to push your thumb just a little bit into each of those areas of the lug. But if you can push in far, or you can push that head in and it's loosey-goosey, that's usually where you're gonna find problems with your snare tuning. So I've learned to I usually go up pretty high, not so high that it just kills the drum and chokes the drum out, but high enough to where the snares are always engaged no matter how little or how much velocity and dynamics I put into my playing. See, if I just play really light, see how you're still hearing every little snare note? That's because of the tension on the reso head. Woo, lot. So obviously I still need to work on tuning it, but I hit pause and then literally just cranked it back up the turns that I turned it down. But I haven't, for me, tuning a drum is serious business, and that's why I use the dial, that's why I use my ear, and that's why I try to tune my drums on a frequent basis, because not only are they played constantly, but I also have students come and sit on them, and a lot of times they're hard hitters, or they'll hit the drums in weird ways where one lug will go really loose, where the rest will stay in tension and that kind of stuff. And over time, I'm not saying it happens instantly. These are great drums that stay put for the most part. So it's just getting to the sound of how particular you are with your sound. So, I have a student coming here any second, so I gotta stop the video, but I think it sounds great. It's gonna be a cool snare, and sorry, I know I was kind of playing some tuning games, and in that I should have just taken care of beforehand, but I wanted to show the difference in the video of how the drum sounds open, snares off with moon gel on, the rim shots, taking the gel off. But yeah, it's going to be a great snare once I get it actually finally in good straight tuning where I like it. And it sounds good here, even where it's at now. I don't think it sounds bad. I'm just saying for my particular taste, I'm pretty particular about tuning. And if I have any wonky overtones or my drum doesn't sound identical in all 4 quadrants, so that's another thing people might not know or can help to tune, is if you kind of think of your drum in quadrants and you're hitting in each quadrant, then what you do is you're trying to make sure that no matter if you hit in this quadrant, this one, or this one, that you're getting the same pitch and overall tone and overtones and ring from each section of the drum. If that's not the case, then you know that you have a certain quadrant, right, that's either too low or too high from the rest, and that'll kind of help you to pinpoint where your issue might be within your tuning. Because it helps you to easily identify, which section of the drum it doesn't have the same amount of tension as the rest. So that's kind of one thing I do too, is just check the quadrants. Now you see how that quadrant sounded different? See? So then I can just easily identify, oh, okay, well then. that already just, you know, by messing with 2 lugs, it already sounds better to my ears. Yeah, cracking. And I like it without the moon gel personally. I'm just goofing around now, but I think it sounds really cool, guys. It's got some cool stuff to it. Okay, enough goofing around, and this video got way too long, but there's the Tama Superstar used. Picked it up for $100, and yeah, like I said, I need to work on the tuning a little bit more with it, but there's some samples of it, guys, and you know, and it looks new. I mean, it looks, you would never know that this drum's 15 years old, you know. I at least I wouldn't. So the person who took care of it, like I said in the last video, thank you to that person, because they took really good care of this drum. Or it looks like maybe it just sat, you know, they didn't even play it. I don't know. But the tension rods are super beefy, super strong. I like the lug design. It's got good resonance for having die-cast hoops on it, and for being birch. I mean, it's got a serious, like, you know, tone and overtones to it. And notes for being birch, you know, I was thinking, oh, okay, it'll be low, fat, quick, deep, fundamental. No, it's got quite a bit of ring to it and quite a bit of overtones. So, you know, which is cool. But you know, I just, like I said in other videos, I like to be prepared for different contexts. And I didn't have a birch snare, so I you know, couldn't pass up on the deal for it. And then, you know, but like I said, my favorite are brass for sure. I just love my brass snares. Love them to death. All right, guys, have a great day, everyone. Sorry this turned into a super long video, but that's pretty typical for me, right? So, love you guys. Have a great day. And my student just got here and texted me, so I gotta go. But take care. Happy drumming. Happy tuning. Happy jamming. But oh, let's get one last parting shot of how this looks with the kit, so you can just kind of see how the snare looks with the kit. But yeah, it's cool. I don't think it's going to be my everyday playing snare, but it's still a cool snare. And it's a great snare to have as like a backline snare, or you know, just to have as like, oh, I need a different sound quickly, like just grab that out of the trunk, swap out the brass, you know, and go for that, and just, oh, here, okay, you need a lower fat rock sound, put the moon gel on it, or put an O-ring on it, whatever, and there's your lower fat rock sound. So cool. All right, guys, happy drumming. Take care.